Last week in Granblue, we experienced some extremely good writing and storytelling with one content, and one of the worst and most head-scratching narratives of the last few years on another, both released on the same day, and this dichotomy certainly raises some questions. Hi, I'm Ducky, and today I wanted to talk about Granblue's writing team, analyzing some recent evidence and some long-time speculation, to try to understand how the same team manages to deliver very different experiences. Bias taxonomy after the intro. The end of August story event was Lone Wolf's Passing, the first actually real event featuring the Lumiel Order of Knights and its country. No, the cooking one does not count, despite having its value. I'll get there. It told us the story of Sebastian, exploring his past and expanding his future, all while building up a very solid foundation for a somewhat big group that had a surprisingly small participation in Granblue's storytelling ecosystem until now. And it was done extremely well. Old men are cool, as it turns out. And by playing their tropes right, the writing team managed to deliver an event that had interesting characters, interesting world building, and awesome big moments mixed together with emotional, personal ones. Despite being an Order of Knights, we do not really see the Lumiel characters engaged in battle or intrigue that much. Compare them to, say, the Dragon Knights, who have been neck deep on corruption and court drama since their introduction. And Little Skyfarer a la Sacre Lumiel just reinforces the sentiment of peace around the kingdom. That event absolutely sucks, but it's now retroactively useful. Lone Wolf's Passing shows us why that is. We learn about the Order's past, and how the country solved its various issues to become a genuinely good place now, mostly due to Sebastian's efforts. But the event does not limit itself to simply telling the past. It's easy to, when writing about older characters, to fall into the trap of only dealing with the past. They may be old, but they are not dead yet. Their future is still ahead. And SSR Sebastian's Fate episodes do an incredible job of expanding on the already good development that happened on this aspect. Honestly, it might not be anything revolutionary, but it was done with a lot of care, and it shows that the people working on the writing of this event and Fate episode know what they are doing. This ain't their first rodeo. Released on the same day was the long-awaited Earth Grand with their Exalto weapon. Lots of terrorists around. It could have been Siegfried. It could have been Beatrix. Eustace? Yuza? They all made sense. But we got a curveball. Medusa. In a hilariously 4th Earth SSR version, she now had the Grand status. From a story perspective, this is not exactly anything big. We have good Grand episodes and bad Grand episodes. And we have Grand episodes that are relevant and Grand episodes that are not. So, anything goes. I had high hopes for it regardless though. Medusa is a very iconic character. She's a member of a very popular group, the Primal Pulse. She was involved in a well-regarded event, Primal Resonance, and also in an anniversary event, created by the stars, loved by the skies. And most importantly, she has an open story with a very well-defined goal. She wants to awaken her sisters, Euralie and Steno, from their dormant cores. Isn't a grand version the perfect opportunity to either finish their narrative or expand it in a cool way? But what we got was actually very, very worrying. In case you did not pull for her, let me give you a quick summary. She's alone with the crew in the boonies. We fulfill our assignment and go to sleep. That night, a random dude voiced by Hiroshi Kamiya shows up to Medusa's room. She tries to petrify him, but he's somehow immune to that. He then simply grabs her by the waist and kidnaps her? And Medusa doesn't do anything? And even with her very loud and very annoying screaming voice, in this very silent village in the middle of nowhere, no one wakes up at all. Only Medusiana, her snake, who was literally sleeping right beside her, wakes up a few moments later and gives chase. Okay, you have one chance to guess this dude's name. Yep, it's Perseus. Medusa is simply being carried like a bag of potatoes over his shoulder. She's not restrained, she's not wounded, she's in absolute peak condition. But she doesn't do anything. I guess he's immune to her petrifying gaze, so this primal with supernatural strength, potent magic powers and sharp fangs is literally helpless against a single guy. Medusiana catches up and Perseus manages to easily block all of her attacks. With a single hand, by the way. Medusa simply orders her snake to go ask for help from the captain. They reach a cave where there is a generic elder NPC who is doing experiments with this coral sword thing. And he needs the blood of a primal to awaken the sword. And Perseus is helping because he wants that power. I guess being strong enough to single-handedly kidnap a primal is not enough. They stab Medusa for her blood, but nothing happens. She just keeps talking and doing absolutely nothing at all until help arrives. Now, all of a sudden, Medusa is super powerful again and can fight back with magic and explosions. Medusiana stabs herself with the sword and they get a power-up. They beat the shit out of some monsters that the Elder left behind and save Perseus who was being cornered. Perseus, then, throws a smoke screen and manages to escape, in a quite literally Power Rangers villain style. Not a single time in the entirety of the episode we get any explanations whatsoever about who Perseus is and what are his goals, and why he's immune to being turned into stone, or who that Elder Sorcerer was, or what that coral sword is, or how it works, or why Medusa did not simply punch him in the face. Everything about this episode is wrong. It's borderline offensive. If you told me this was straight out of 2014, I would totally believe you. It's 2014 Granblue writing levels of bad. It makes Medusa look bad. And for what? For nothing. It does not add anything to her narrative arc. We learn so little about this Perseus guy, I cannot bring myself to call this a teaser. It reduced this prideful and powerful primal, with a rich history, into a damsel in distress. And for no good reason, the same guy who kidnapped her was being cornered by, like, 3 regular monsters. Reading this back to back, I could not believe that the same team wrote both of them. It's simply not possible. Even if you try to write something purposely bad, you would not end with Medusa's Fate episodes. It has always been a theory in the community about how there are actually 2 or 3 separate groups in the writing team. We have no way of knowing for sure, and probably never will, but evidence points towards that direction. There is probably an A team with their best writers, and then a B team and a C team. I don't want to bash on these folks, but the writing quality and consistency of stories really reinforces the theory of an A team working on the good stuff, while the other 2 being responsible for the rest. I could pull up a chart or something, pointing out which event I think was written by which team, but that would be completely made up, so I will not. It's just crazy to me how stuff with the quality of Medusa's Fate episode even manages to be released nowadays. Even if you are working with separate teams, you should have a lead narrative director who oversees all of them, right? And they probably work in parallel, so you can release this content together. I can't bring myself to believe the same director who read Lone Wolf's Passing gave the green light to this Medusa story in the same week. I don't have any grand conclusions or revelations to end this video with. I don't have an answer to why such a big discrepancy happened. I'm simply confused. I don't understand the situation. I guess just bringing up the theory of multiple teams, for those who did not know already, is good enough. The woes of a long-lived narrative being worked on by several groups at the same time, I suppose. And that's it for this video, thank you all for watching. What's your theory about the writing teams, and which events would you lump together into each team? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, this was Ducky, and I'll see you all later.